Aloha, e como mai. Welcome or welcome back to Rainbow Budgets. I'm so glad you're here with me today for our July check-in and August budget with me. I am still really new to this type of video, but I found them so insanely helpful, and I do still find them super helpful. I love watching everyone else's budget with me's, so I am hopeful that this will help me work through some of the kinks in my own budget, but then also be something that you find valuable as well. I'm also going to do my best to share what needs to be shared and with explanations without making this an hour-long video. So we'll see. Hopefully that part will get better as well. I hope that you had a wonderful weekend and that your week is off to a great start. I'm recording this on Saturday, but I'm thinking it's probably going to go live on Monday. So hope your week is off to a wonderful start. Like I said, we are going to start with the second half of our July budget. This ran from July 21st because that's when we get paid. My husband and I both get paid bi-monthly, and it will run through August 5th, yes, because August 6th is when we get paid our first paycheck of the August month, of the August budget. So this rollover column I've already filled in. It matches what we had left from our budget for the first half of July. I do budget everything up front. So instead of, say, dividing our grocery budget in half and saying, okay, we get $500 for the first half, $500 for the second half, I just go ahead and give us the full amount at the beginning of the month, because we do a lot of shopping at, say, like Sam's and Costco, right? And so sometimes one half or the other of the month is heavier. And so I want to be able to really truly call this rollover. But I do feel like for all of these, our variable expenses and then our like short-term sinking funds, all of these really within a month-ish give a pretty good balance. So let's take a look at what we actually spend. I've got a little cheat sheet over to the side here, and I do keep a column for his and hers because my husband and I each do have separate credit cards. There's a credit card that we are both on, but technically that account is in his name. We just are trying to prioritize using it more now because it earns us miles, and as you know, we love to travel. It's very important for us, being so like geographically isolated on a tiny island out in the middle of the Pacific. So travel is something super important. So if our everyday expenses can be earning us free travel, that's what we're definitely going to make a priority. But I do keep these two separate columns still because this just tells me if I need to go back and see, okay, what is actually on each credit card-ish. Not necessarily that I would be like mad at my husband if his account went over on groceries, right? Because that's something we always buy together. It just happens to be put on his credit card, if that makes sense. So let's see, he spent, well, okay, so I shouldn't call it he spent. So in the his column, we have 179, 179, and on my card, he spent 82. So let me grab a calculator. I thought I was prepared, but maybe not. And let's see, where's the best place for you to see? I think you should be able to see that. Okay, so we spent 179 and 82. So in total, we spent 261 in groceries. That is a little bit lower than I was expecting, but that was thanks to my parents visiting and absolutely spoiling us with buying groceries while they were here. So we'll subtract that from the 497 we had remaining, and we are left with 236. Actually, let me move this for the time being so it's easier for me to write. There we go. And it looks negative on the calculator, but it's just because I subtracted the bigger balance instead of the other way around. I'm actually not sure how to switch that on this type of calculator. If you know, let me know. Okay, for eating out, we spent 204 and 33. So again, not bad. We did pay for some of our meals out, but then again, my parents totally spoiled us. So 204 plus 33 puts us at 237 minus our 549 that we had available. That left us with a balance of 312. Okay. And for family fun and household, we were both already in the negative for these. And then we spent out of both of these still. So 128 for family fun. So that put us at a total negative balance of 189. Whew. So negative 189 For household, we spent $107 and 14. And these really weren't frivolous household purchases. We did a huge stock up on toilet paper, paper towels, a couple of other things that really should keep us good for the next quarter at least. So that's why a huge reason why we went over in this area. But 46 plus 107 plus 14 puts us a total negative balance of 167. And for this very reason is why we have our buffer, which I always just carry over, 198. All right, so for this area here, for our variable expenses each month, I do like to use the buffer here. Let's see if I can explain this in a good way. So if I take all $198 from this buffer, we'll have 0 left over, and I can put let's see. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, yes, I was trying to figure out what did I do. So if I take 198 and apply this to this 189, so plus 189, that gets this one to 0. Okay, so we're no longer at negative here. Oops. 198 minus 189, and we have $9 that can still go here. So I can add plus 9 from our buffer. So that puts us at a negative of 167 minus 9. So that leaves us with a negative 158. And then that 158 I'll subtract from just maybe this one because it's the closest. So 312 minus 158. That leaves us with 154 here in our eat out budget, because we took some from the eat out budget then to cover the household that we went over. So that puts us at 0. Okay, so these are essentially 0, and then we have 236 plus 154, 236 plus 154 extra, so 390 that we did not spend. So that is awesome. And I realized I could have just made that easier by saying 236 plus 312 plus 198 minus 189 minus 167, 390. Yep. But the super cool thing about this now is that this 390 I can now apply into my August budget because it was extra, right? That money still came into our account, but we didn't spend it, and we use this to increase the amount we're able to save for extra debt payments. If you saw the Sick of Debt Saturday video, I explained that we had a little bit of rollover, and that's what this is from. So we are able to be saving more each week to go towards our extra debt payments, which is awesome. That's what we want to see, and that is really encouraging. So even though we went over in a couple accounts, it's not the end of the world. Overall, still we balanced out. Okay, cool. All right, let's keep going. For enrichment, we spent, so roughly quarterly or semesterly for some things, we have opportunities at my son's school to enroll him in like after school programs. It's not technically after school because it's in the afternoon. Their school day goes all the way until 4:30. And so in the afternoons, from like 3 to 3:45 or 4 to 4:45 or 3:45 to 4, they have extracurricular activities optional that you can enroll them in, like soccer shots. We enrolled him in a little vets where they're learning about veterinary care for cats in the fall semester. Spring semester is going to be for dogs. There is a tinker and do, like robotics and engineering thing he's going to do. And we also enrolled him in hula. And then we also enrolled him in Saturday swim lessons that's not connected to the school. So this enrichment amount is about to be huge, but it won't be this big every month. And this is why it is in a short-term sinking fund. So we will be rolling this over between the months to save up, because sometimes we'll have large months like this where we spend $674. And then here we have a little bit of a weird situation. I'm putting a plus because in my account we actually got a plus 356. My parents were super sweet and wanted to pay for my son's soccer shots enrollment. Isn't that adorable? So that's why we have a positive balance here. Love that. And that left us with a total of $58. And so there are a few, I'm going to put a star here because there are a few of these sinking funds that I'm looking at and I'm like, wow, those are really low. We should consider increasing them. even though we'll have a few months to build this back up before we have to spend out of here, it makes me nervous seeing it go down that low. Okay, hair and beauty, we spent $139 and $32, leaving us with a balance of $362. And then this one also, I think we're gonna need to build up a little bit more. For home, we spent $637 and $572, and that left us with a negative balance of $990. And I know that is huge. We did purchase a couple new rugs that they're expensive. We've got the cheapest ones we could, but they're still expensive. Let's see, what else do we do? We bought rug pads. We did a new setup for a TV on our lanai, and there's just lots of home projects that we got done while my parents were here to help us. And so that is a huge negative number that should not happen every month. Something for us to be like really, really conscious of and aware of. For our pet, we spent $323. That included grooming and some purchases of her food. Unfortunately, we spent $100 purchasing a bag of dry food from our vet. And this is the second time within the span of like 2 months, and it was off, made her so sick, and she refused to eat. We are super careful with her diet, so we are certain that's what it was. And when we then got a new bag of food and started feeding her the new bag of food, same brand, same diet, but it was just, she got better. So yeah, that's why this is extra. In the past, last time this happened, we did contact the vet and they like gave us a new bag of food for free. This time that did not happen, so we had to buy the second bag that was, thank goodness, good. But that's still really frustrating to have that much wasted money. Yeah, but is what it is. That always goes on my husband's card. And so she is left with $28. So this was another one that I made a note that we should definitely increase if we can in our next budget. For my husband's spending, he only had $24, but he did great and only spent $12, which put him at a balance of $12. I spent more. So I spent $354 and $111. Some of this was like back to school stuff, and so that puts me at $2,440. And this balance is so huge because I did some extra jobs and instead of having that income go towards our regular budget, I just put it in my spending. But you'll see I do try to be very generous with it as far as putting it towards our family, things that we need. And then for my son, we on his behalf spent $68.63. Those were things for him. So that leaves him with a balance of $1,452. And this balance is also much higher than it usually is. Every few months, I sort through his clothes, pull out what he's outgrown, and then I sell them. And so every several months, this will jump by about $1,000 or so. And then we'll slowly spend it down, as you can see. All right, so because this does, let's go through and fix this negative amount. I'm going to take $990 from my account and move it to cover this so that we're moving forward in our home with a balance of 0, and then my new balance, 2440 minus 990, 2440 minus 990, there we go, is 1450 moving forward for me. Okay. And the way I handle this, I do not keep cash in envelopes. Like I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I am so scared that life will get so busy that I am not able to get the cash back to the bank, and then we'll end up overdrawing or having fees or having accounts closed. And that just makes me way too nervous. So instead of pulling out prop bills here, I have a high yield savings account that I just monitor this each month. So rolling over after the close of July, we have $58 plus $362 plus 0 plus 28 plus 12 plus 1450 plus 1452. That is $3,362. $3,362. And I'll try to insert a screenshot here Yeah, showing the 3,362, and I just call this like our variable rollover. So we have this money set aside. It is not in buckets. I could put it all in individual buckets, but it's just easier. It's less time consuming for me to just track the numbers here on my sheet and then just have this like lump sum balance that I can pull out of if we spend out of these accounts throughout the month. All right, so let's take a look at our totals here. So 2,825 came off of my husband's card. 551 came off of mine, and that leaves us with 3752. And if we add the 3362 plus 390, yep, that is our 3752. So our numbers are working out. The math is mathing. Yay, love that when that happens. All right, let's take a look down here at our longer term sinking funds and savings. So again, these are the same balances that we brought forward from last month's check-in. And now some of these, we add in the amount that we budget for the month at the beginning. Some of them, these ones with the icons, are our savings challenges where I pull out cash, and the plus here will not be what we have budgeted. The plus here will be our completed savings challenges for the month. And then the minus is anything that we spend out of these, obviously, for both of them. So let's take a look at what we spent. We did not spend anything out of our annual subs, so that stays the same at 1101. We did spend out of our auto MRO, my husband's registration, and something else. I cannot remember. Didn't add anything else here, but we spent $713. And 566 of that was for registration. So let's actually go ahead and get into our savings challenge binder here. Well, we have savings challenges, our emergency fund, home MRO, which I've added a few categories to. Yay, we'll talk about that later. And then here for our auto, we have car registration number 1, and I hadn't been checking that off. We had a goal of $600, and it actually came out to be 566. So we're gonna have a little bit rolling over in there, but we still have to do the safety, I think, which will be at least $25. 591. That's so close to 600. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull the full 600. So that is here. So 550. We had 550 in here. Oh, right, because we needed to save the month of August, because his registration was due in August, but we got a notice a month in advance and he went ahead and paid it. Okay. All right, so that is 550 that I've pulled out for that. And that's going to leave us, after we subtract the whole 713, with a balance of 1,928. Okay. And I made a note on my cheat sheet that I needed to add in tires. So we do have a new category here for tires that we will start saving for in our August budget. Right, for home MRO, we didn't add anything because that happened with the first half of the month, but we did spend 146. So we should have a balance of 341. Oh, and you know what? I'm realizing, okay, if I took out the 550 plus we put in 50, so that will be the full 600. So I need to make sure when we put in the 50 this month that it does come back out, since we've already paid that early. Okay. And then we'll start recording in September again. Okay, perfect. All right, just making sure that all lines up. It can be kind of confusing sometimes, which is why it's good to hear other people talk through this as well. But we need to cover the rest of this too. 713 minus 600 is going to be 113. What did we spend the rest of that on? Let me take a look. All right, I looked it up. It was general maintenance for my husband's car. And I'm realizing we don't have a general maintenance category. We have cleaning supplies. Wonder, but we only have $40 in that. Let's see. So do we have a negative balance in there then? Okay, what do you do in this situation? I don't want to take it out of any of our other categories that we're saving up. Could take it out of deductible. Let's do that. Okay, it's gonna come out of deductible, which we haven't been tracking just because we have an end goal of 2,000. So we're just gonna keep saving until we get to 2,000. Doesn't really matter when we hit that, just as long as we get there. I think I divided that over 12 months. So, and we just started saving in that. So we should have, let's see, 167 here. 150, 65, 66, 67. Nice. And I need to take out 113. So I could 110. I have 112 here. Let me find some ones to break this 5 so that we can take out the right amount. All right, here are our 5 ones. Take out the 5, and now we should be able to take out 1, 10, 11, 12, 13. Nice. All right, and that leaves us with 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 54. And our auto deductible, we are trying to get up to 2,000 for this, just in case. All right, nice. What next? Okay, I'm glad we got that taken care of. The home MRO, let's see, what category does that come out of? Okay, the 146 was for dryer parts and our yard guy. We do have someone that comes once a month or once every 3 weeks, depending on his availability, to cut our yard. Let's see, home MRO, should we take that out of home repairs, I think, for now? Yeah, okay, I think home repairs is just the general miscellaneous category we have for that. And in here we had 50, 70, 85, 86, 7, 8, 9, 89. So I need to make a note that we still owe money on this one. Let me grab a sticky. Okay, so that is 113 minus 89. We owe 24 back to bank. Okay, nice. All right. Let's keep going. We are making good progress, friends. Thanks for sticking in there. All right, next we have our emergency fund. Nothing went in and nothing came out. Thank goodness. We are just starting this out to get a small emergency fund here. We do have these obviously sinking funds that we could use in event of like a really, really serious emergency, but I do want to fund an emergency fund. That is a new emerging goal that we have. All right, for medical, 37.45, nothing came in, nothing went out. And that leaves us with 37.45. For travel, we saved up 400 in the first part of the month. We saved up 900 in completed challenges for the second half of the month, and that puts travel at 1,300. For Christmas, nothing in, nothing out, so 632. For education, we had 2,186, and what I'm tracking here is just what we are putting into the account, not how well the account is doing with the market. That's just too much like ups and downs and changes on a short term to monitor. So what I'm really monitoring is our progress here of reaching our goal of how much we want to add, the $5,000 for the year. So we added in 140 in completed challenges, nothing went out obviously. 2186 plus 140 puts us at 2326. Nice. For extra debt, we made another payment of 120, and we will check nothing. I mean, I guess we'll take a look at how much our balance changed on the tracker. So I'll just put tracker here. For Pauhana, we added in 250. Yay. And I'm not tracking balances here. Overall, it's just in cash in our Pauhana binder. And then for back to school gifts, we did complete $200 back to our high yield savings account. Yay. And I love my Wealthfront account. I'll have it linked in the comments, pinned in the comments down below. I highly recommend checking it out if you are interested in looking for one. It has so user friendly. It has so many different unlimited buckets that you can have, and it links really easily to your existing checking account. It's so fast to send money back and forth, track these within the buckets, and it's earning a 4% interest rate right now, which is really good. Very competitive as far as the high yield savings accounts goes. All right, so let's look at our tracker. I am super excited to be looking at this. We did make payments of $920 in the first half of June. I had it written out right here. Okay. We did make a payment of $120 in the second half of June from our savings challenges, so this was extra payments. And then we have a regular payment of $1,000 that came out on August 4th. So our new balance is $8,385.81. So let's see what we can color in here. From our starting balance of 10,369.15 minus our ongoing balance of 8,385.81. Oh, whoa, what did I do? 10,369.15 minus 8,385.81 is $1,983.34. Yay. Divided by 104. That puts us at 19 boxes that we can have colored in. Yay. We already have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, 11 more boxes we can color it in. Let me zoom you through as I do that. Yay, look at that progress. Woohoo, in just 1 month. Oh, awesome. We still have a long way to go to get there, but we'll get there eventually, right? Awesome, yay. All right, let's see. We did also put some into education, $140. So let's take a look at that tracker as well. Oh, I have the note here already. So 2186 is what we already have colored in for our boxes here, plus 140, 2326, that's what we recorded on our sheet, and each box here is worth 50. So if I divide by 50, that puts us at 46 boxes that we can have colored in, or like lines here. The corner boxes count for 1. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that's 40, 41, 42, 43. So I can color in 3 more boxes, yay. All right, we are making great progress here. I hope that we are able to meet this goal. We're over halfway through the year, not quite halfway there, but hopefully this difference is just the money that we have in our binder waiting to finish challenges. Hopefully, we'll see. I guess I should double check as we get closer to the end of the year to make sure we're on track. Awesome. All right, so that is it for July. We have $390 that we are rolling over from our variable expenses to be able to put into our debt binder, extra debt binder for the month of July. We have $3,362 rolling over in our short-term sinking funds, and then all of our long-term sinking funds down here. Great, looking good. I'm glad that even though we went over in some categories, we definitely had a cushion elsewhere to cover it. Let me get set up for our August budget and I'll be right back. All right, friends, I have our August budget planner ready. I am going to pull this out of the Happy Planner so that it is easier for us, well, for me to write on. The most awesome thing about the Happy Planner is how easy it is to take pages in and out. So let's take a look first at our monthly calendar here. And I'm going to try adding in something different from last time, and I hope that this is helpful. I do an adjusted version of the highlight method. I think it originally comes from the Budget Mom, but I've seen so many other people do it. I first learned about it from Steph at Steph's on a Budget and Karen at the Faithful Dash. They have amazing budget with me's if you are looking for someone else to learn from and haven't found them yet. I am going to highlight up here first the dates that are covered by the end of our July paycheck. Okay, so all of this through the 5th of the month is covered by our last July paycheck. Then we have our first paycheck cycle of August, because we get paid bi-monthly. That goes from the 6th, that is so crooked, through the 20th. and then we get paid on the 21st again. So the second part of August is the 21st through the 5th, which actually isn't even on here, so I will just highlight down here, and we will write in a 5. All right, so if I were to redo this page, I have adjusted my budgeting method a few times throughout the month. I guess I should get rid of this week, move this one up so that we can have the 5th on here and we can see what's coming up after that. That's okay. Just a small adjustment that I would like to make. All right, let's see. I do usually go through and in purple, this is just my personal preferences, I will write in the days that we have credit card payments due. So these don't go in our budget necessarily because we've already budgeted and tracked our spending on the credit cards like the month before, but I just like to remind myself when that payment is due and when it's going to be coming out of our checking accounts. So I have a Discover card. This was actually the first card I ever got way back when I was in college. I don't use it all that much. Our United card. This is the one that we use the most to help us earn miles for travel. We have a Chase card on the 22nd. And then I have a Target card that I primarily just use at Target, but it's awesome to get that extra 5% discount when you use it. And that covers our tax pretty much. So it's like tax-free here. It's technically not a tax. Well, it's a general excise tax. It's not meant to be a tax on the consumer, but businesses are allowed to pass it on. So of course, every single business passes it on, and that is 4.712%. So the 5% like really just covers that, and that is awesome. Okay, those are our credit cards for the month. And then I like to go in and using a blue, actually, this is a little bit more blue. Let me grab a different blue. There we go. This blue color to write in my things that come out of my husband's account. So it isn't not necessarily like his spending per se, but just things that I track that will come out of his checking account or his credit cards. We have our electric bill, Mahalo, that comes out on the 11th. His life insurance comes out on the 16th. This is something we've had for a long time, and I'm so glad that we have that now that we have my son especially. We have our pre-K tuition comes out on the 20th. He has an Adobe subscription. This may be like one of the only things that is like just his, but it's really not that pricey. And I have Canva, so trade-off. And then we have our internet. We don't have very many options out here. We kind of bounce back and forth depending on who will give us the better deal. Right now it's Hawaiian Telecom. Our mortgage comes out on the 1st. And then we have cell phone and YouTube. This is something we both use a lot, and we have switched our music subscription to so that we're just utilizing the YouTube music instead of Spotify or anything else. And then my husband's car payment, which will be $1,000. We just went over that. Cool. Okay. So, and then next I'll write in the expenses that come out of my account. I have an iCloud subscription to help save all my photos so that I don't have to go through them, or I have a million photos and videos of my son from the first 3 years of his life. That's super important that that gets backed up. I have iPhone insurance, and let's see, my life insurance comes out on the 22nd. But I'm kind of skipping around here. Sorry. We have a joint savings. I guess this could be a little bit like an emergency fund, but it is in the stock market, so it's not as liquid. It's just something super small that we started doing years ago, and it's only $150 a month, which I know is like not much. In the long run, that will add up, but when we very, very first started saving, this was something that was manageable. $150 a month, right? Little bits add up. We do have a membership that comes out on this date, and we have on the 28th, one of our primary healthcare providers here, Hawaii Pacific Health, offers really great payment plans for large medical bills. We took my son to the ER maybe 2 years ago, and they do interest-free fee-free payment plans. So we signed up for that instead of paying the like $200 right away. So it's been spread out. We only pay $20 a month now still. It was more than 200. It was a lot more than that. I remember being so shocked when we got the bill, but you know, when you're a first time parent, it can be kind of scary. So we took him in just to be safe. Luckily it was nothing serious, just a regular like childhood illness. And then we have our water bill that comes out on the 5th. So a lot of these like beginning of the month payments, like our mortgage, our water bill, that one's usually pretty large. Those things come out at the end of the pay cycle for us, even though it's the beginning of the next month. So I do find that super helpful. That makes it easier to budget for these because we've already received both of our paychecks for the month before we get here. We just have to make sure we're being very careful about making sure this money is still in the account. So that is something I track super carefully. All right, let's take a look now. I'm not going to outline them out since we already kind of talked about what they are. Oops, sorry. Here, this is where I like to look at this. And on my cheat sheet that I have, my pre-filled version already, I did fill in both for myself and my husband our income and then outline all of these expenses, the dates they come out and what they are. We're going to skip over this for now though, and go straight to our other income, variable budget, and sinking funds. So I think other income, this is even something new that I did not share last time, but I do want to share it this time. Let's see, let's use this green maybe. Let's see if this is green enough. We do get interest. Nope, that's still kind of a teal color. Let's try this green. Okay, we have interest for our checking. And this month it was $18. We have interest for our high yield savings account, and this month it was $51. That's nice, yeah, love that. We're able to then roll that into our sinking funds and long-term savings. We do have, let's see, on the 6th, we should get a payment for our dependent care flexible spending account. That is $208. And then again on the 21st, DCFSA, that is $208 again. Both of these are earmarked directly for education down here. And then I'm going to put 8-6 here. We have our July rollover of $390. All right, I'm not going to put, I guess we could total this up. Why not? 18 plus 51 plus 208 plus 208 plus 390. So that total is 875. This is like extra that we are now able to put into our sinking funds, which is why I'm outlining it here for you. So you can see these interest earning even just a little bit of interest makes a huge difference. This 208 and 208 is what we're going to put towards education. And then this 390 we're going to be able to put towards extra debt, which is very exciting. All right, for our variable budget, for groceries, we budget $35 per day, which puts us at $10.85. For eating out, we budget $25 a day. We don't eat out every day. That's just kind of how I manage calculating what we should have for the month. So $7.75. For family fun, we're budgeting $5 a day. That is $1.55. For household, budgeting $2 a day. That puts us at $62. And then our buffer, we always start out with $200. So in total, this variable budget is $2,277. Okay, for our sinking funds, for enrichment, we budget $10 per day, and that will put us at $310. This is more than last month. We talked about in the July check-in why that is. Same thing for hair and beauty. We're gonna up this to $10 a day, so that will also be $310. For home, we are gonna up this as well since we went over. This is a $248 at $8 a day. Pet, same thing, also gonna get $8 a day. Oops, 8. And then for his spend and her spend, also bumping it up to $8 a day. And for my son, we're gonna keep him at $5 per day. His account seems pretty healthy and full. All right, so let me copy in these 248s. and 155. That puts this total at 1,767. For our annual subscriptions, we are putting in our regular 188 per month. We calculate this not based on per day, but on what we know we need to save for the year. For auto MRO, we are saving $745. This is up by $167 from last month because we're adding in the category of saving for new tires now, and we are going to need those in the near future. For home MRO, that is $417, and I actually have not decided how to budget that out between our new home categories. For emergency, that is $252. Again, just an amount that we need to get us to a baseline 52 times 12 of about $3,000 for the year. Okay. Let's see. Medical, $586. And for travel, $1,600. We have 4 weeks, and I save $400 each week. So this is another reason we were able to increase some of these a little bit. Last month we had to save $2,000 in travel, and I say had. This is obviously a negotiable category. If we had an emergency, lost a job, this $1,600 or $2,000 is huge, and so this would go away. But while we can right now afford this, we are going to be saving to make sure that we have the money to spend before we travel and spend the money. This is just a season of life that we are in right now. This will not always be the case. I know it will not. It's coming, looming in the near future where we will not be able to do this. So while we can, we're going to do it. That's another thing too about watching other people's budgets. We are all different. We are all in different seasons of lives. So learn from each other, encourage each other, and it may look different for all of us, but this is something we are able to do right now, and so we're doing it. For Christmas, we're going to be saving $170. I think this is up just a little bit. I did some recalculations to make sure we were on track for that. For education, for 16, we were saving $400, but then I realized as we were tracking this and getting $208 back twice a month, this should be $416. For extra debt, this is a place that I always leave blank until I've filled in everything else. We are able to save $828 this time. And then for Pauhana, we are saving $500 because we have 5 weeks. And if I'm able to get any bonus money, like selling something on Facebook Marketplace, that is where this goes. So we have been able to save $125 for the past few weeks. We're done with that now. I think I have $40 that we can split out over 2 weeks, so we'll be at $120 for a couple weeks, but that extra is not ever included in our budget. So it just is going straight cash into here. Okay, so that puts us at a total down here of $5,702. All right, now we are going to flip over and we can go ahead and fill in. I will zoom you in since I've already given this whole long explanation. Go ahead and fill in these amounts here and down here as well. All right, that gets us all filled in up here. I do want to note, you'll notice for all of these purple, so our short-term sinking funds, these amounts do not match what we just budgeted here because we had rollover, right? So my son gets his 155 plus what he already had in rollover, and that amount is in my variable rollover category of my high yield savings account. So these don't exactly match, but I've added together what we're budgeting and what we already had. Some of them do match for the ones that were zero, like home. Okay, so we will come back to these like next week since it's already so far into August. I cannot do this check-in yet though, because we need to wait at least until the 20th. So on the 21st, I'll probably put this together, or maybe the weekend following. Down here, we can though go ahead and add in what we are adding in and add it to our sinking fund binder. So we are adding 188 for our annual subs. We are adding 745 for our auto MRO. For our home MRO, we are adding $417 and emergency is $252. The rest of these we'll just have to wait and see what we save. We know what we have budgeted, but this amount will be what we actually complete in savings challenges. So I can't fill this in yet. And obviously we don't know what we've spent yet. So let me grab the binder and we can go ahead and take care of these. All right, I am back with my savings challenges and sinking funds binder here and some prompt bills. I think I have the right denominations, I'm not sure, we will see. So starting with our savings challenges, these we only add to when we are completing challenges, and these are all up to date so far. Up next for our emergency fund, we are going to start here by adding in $252. I'm going to try to condense as much as possible. I think we can use a 500. So let's see what we already have in here. Oh, we already have 252 and adding in 252 should give us 504, right? Yes, it should. 252, yep. So let's take a $500 placeholder and put these back, 50 back, and we need to take 2 more ones so that we're at 504. Perfect. All right, that one was easy and straightforward. It's gonna get a little bit more complicated from here on out. For our home MRO, I did add in this tracker here. We're not gonna start on this just yet, I don't think. I've been doing specific savings challenges for saving up for our washer dryer. That is the next appliance I would like to upgrade. We've had ours for over a decade and it works, but it's getting kind of yuck. I'd really like for us, especially with our weather here in Hawaii and the fact that my husband and I both work full-time, to have a single like washer dryer that's the same unit so that it automatically dries. I know there have been improvements lately into how well those work, and when we were in Sweden we got to try one out at one of the places we stayed, and it was really nice not to have to worry about switching the clothes from the washer to the dryer. Another thing here in Hawaii, our washer never gets all the way dry, never ever. No matter what I do, leaving the doors open, leaving the drawer open that you put the soap into, all of that, the detergent, it just never dries out. So hopefully that will solve that problem. That was very long-winded, but I've been doing specific savings challenges for this. So we're just going to leave this, and then I have some savings challenges lined up for some of these other ones as well. So I think all of our money that we are adding in today for 17, we're just gonna put straight here in our home repairs just to go ahead and build that up. So we have 341 only because of what's already in here, plus we owe 24 back to the bank. So if we're adding in 417, but we do owe 24 back to the bank, we should actually be putting in 393 here. So let's see, that is 1, 2, 3, 90. So 50, 70, 90, and 3 is 1, 2, 3. So 393 going in here. And we do have now 393 plus, let's see what's in our appliances. 1, 2, 3, 50, 70, 90, 5, 96, 97, 98. So 393 plus 398, let's see if that adds up like it's supposed to, is 791 minus 417, 374. Nope. Okay, I will figure out what went wrong there. 374 minus 341, $33 difference. I will get that figured out. Oh, you know what? I think it's a problem with my tracking from last week. I think last month, I thought I only had 348, but I really had 398 that I had saved up here. So I think that's where the discrepancy is coming in. So I'll just double check that though and get it straight for next month. As you can see, I promise I'm good with numbers, but this is not as easy as it looks. But I will get it sorted out for us. I may even, if I can figure it out while I'm editing so that I'm not wasting your time, jump in and we will talk about it, or I'll put in an edit about what I figured out and what was wrong so that we get it 100% right. Okay, actually, should I just do that right now and make sure it's right? Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now. Let me pause you. All right, friends, I'm back. I figured it out. So I didn't just owe $24 back to the bank. That was the problem. So last month we had $487 starting out for the second half of July in our home general category. $398 of it was already in the washer dryer bucket category, because this was something $398 that I had saved in a specific savings challenge. So in our general home repairs, we only had $89. I thought we had more. That is where I had the difference between the two. So that was incorrect. We spent $146. So I actually owed $57 back, not $24. Okay, so now let's see. I want to make sure this is 100% correct. So if we are adding in the $417, but I owed $57 back to the bank, I should have added in $360. So let's take a look here. I added in too much. So $350. I'm going to put these back. $360. This is what we should have in here. $360 plus our $398 gives $758 minus $417, $341. $341, right, which is what we have here. Yes, okay. So that was right. Okay, sorry, I panicked. All right, $360 plus our $398. So $758 in total. Let me just go ahead and write that down. Here, $758. Okay, minus the $417 that we just added in leaves us with the $341 that we started with. And that is super confusing because I was like negative in this envelope, but no way to show that other than just with a little note that I had the wrong amount on anyway. Okay, but I am so glad I paused you and took the time to figure that out. So sorry for the confusion, but that's just how life goes, right? Okay, now let's move on to our auto MRO. And I do have a sinking fund tracker here that we are going to use. So we are adding in a total of $745. I did make sure that I had that $745 here before we started. I don't know if I have the correct denominations though to divide it out. So let's start first with our Geico. We are going to be putting in for payment number 1, our August amount of $133. So let's see, 133 plus what we already have in here, which is 1, 2, 3, 50, 70, 80, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. So we have 399 plus 133. So we should have a total of 532 in this envelope. So let me grab my 500, put the rest of this back. 20, 30, 1, 2. So 532 is how much we should have in here. Perfect. All right. And then for our 134 in our insurance number 2 category here, let's see, let's go ahead and color in our August. Keep us on a track here. And if we are adding in 134 to what we already have, which is 1,000, 150, 70, 90, 206, 206, 1206 plus 134, we should have 1,340. So 1,000, 1, 2, 300, 20, 40. Okay, 1,340. Nice. And this one will be due in 2 months. So it is a good thing that we are on track for this. I'm so glad I have that saved up. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Up next, we have our Tesla subscription for $9. This one comes out in June. So let's go ahead and put in our 9. We should already have a 9 in there, which would put us at 18. Yes, 9. So to make 18, I'm going to put a 1 back and take a 10. So 18 total. All right. For our automobile registration, this is the one that just got paid, right? Yes. So I haven't started coloring this in because I want to start in September. We need to put in August's amount of 50. but we owe 50, right? Because we took out 550, and so this makes the full, sorry, yeah, 600. Yes, that's what we're saving for, 600. So this needs to go back to the bank. I'm going to take this out. And I'm not going to color because I want to start coloring on this line in September just to save paper. All right, so this is now empty, but that's exactly what it should be. For car number 2 registration, we need to put in $45. Okay, let me color this here. Okay, and let's see, what do we already have in here? 1, 250, 270. So 270 plus 45 is 315. So 1, 2, let's put this back and take 3, 10, 15. 315, perfect. For cleaning supplies, you're going to be adding in 40. We should already have 40. This one doesn't have a deadline. I'm just coloring it in on the tracker anyway, so we know when we started saving. So that should put us at $80. 20, 40, actually, oh, guess I just need to do like this or let me exchange this 20 for 2 10s. Okay, 2 10s, and this way we can grab a 50 just to keep the envelopes as condensed as possible since there are so many of them in this little binder. So $80, perfect. Okay, that's our cleaning supplies. It will not always be this easy once we start taking money out of it. That will become more like a variable. I'm not happy about that, but it is what it is. I think it needs to be in this savings bucket. Okay, deductible of $167. I was not coloring on here yet because we just want to get up to it, and same thing, we're going to be spinning out of here sorry for the loud motorcycle that just drove by, friends. So we're going to be spinning out of here like we already did. So we have 54 in here, and we're going to be adding in 167. So 54 plus 167, 221 is what we should have. So let's put these back. 1, 2, 21. Nice. All right. Up next, we have tires. We are just starting this one off, so we will have 1, 50, 60, 5, 66, 67. Starting this one off. I think I'm not going to color this one in either, but it is good to have it on here just so that I know how much we are saving for, what our goal is. So let me actually go ahead before we continue on. For our emergency fund, I will go ahead and insert a screenshot here so you can see our high yield savings account balance. That should match what we counted earlier. And then for our home MRO, I'll go ahead and insert a screenshot here as well. So that should also match the total that we talked about here. For the auto MRO, I will go ahead and insert a screenshot from our bucket here. Nice. All right. For annual subs, oops, this one needs to go back in. And I think I should actually, let me pause you. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I saw someone else do this. I just cut slits here. Let's see if this works. Actually, saw this first from A Budget with Carly. I think same thing as the happy planner idea, and that this should just snap in. Yes, nice. So now I don't have to open the rings. Hopefully that holds up though. I'm not sure how it's going to though. That is nice cardstock, but still, because it's paper and not like vinyl or laminate, I don't know. Okay, up next, is our annual subs. We're putting 188 in here total. And I'm gonna have to open this for now, but I think I will try cutting this one as well, just because it's so tricky opening the rings since it's so full. We have a saving for Prime, United, Amex, Sam's, Bishop Museum, preschool enrollment, preschool fundraiser, which is coming up really soon. That's why we haven't started coloring it in yet, Netflix, and Hulu. All right, let's see. Where should we start? Start with Prime. Okay, we're adding in $12. We should have 12 in here, so this should get us to 24. I'm gonna put back the 10, take a 20 and 2 ones. Okay, 24 in Prime, and let's get this colored in. All right, for United, this is our United card fee. Let's see, we need 44. We should have 88 in here, I think. 20, 40, 60, 85, 6, 7, 8. 88 plus 44, 132. So let's do some condensing as well. 20, 32, and a 100. So 132 and this one, nice. It is going to be so good to already have this saved up. One thing I forget about every year is saving up for our credit card fees. And I know it's best to have credit cards that don't have fees, but these travel cards do have fees, but the benefits we get are more than what we pay in the fees. So, I mean, yeah, it's about finding a balance, right? So for the American Express, this is my Delta card that I'm able to get a companion certificate with. We're putting in 21, and let's see what we already have. 125, 26. So 126 plus 21, 147. 120, 45, 46, 47. Nice, 147, perfect. Up next, we have our Sam's that is due, this month. I need to pay it. Okay, so we should have 50 in here by adding 4, 20, 45, 46, 47, 48. Yes, okay. This was not a number that was easily divisible. So we just need 50, but we have 20, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, $52 extra. Should I just roll these over? What do you recommend? Or take them out and we just start over? I don't know. I'm going to leave them in here for now though. And let me go ahead and condense this for a 50. Okay, so 52, even though we only need 50. We will figure out what we're gonna do about that later this month at one of the check-ins. That is something to keep in mind though, and I'm open to your ideas. Please give me suggestions down below. All right, up next, we colored it in, right? Yes, we did, good. Oh no, we didn't, because we're gonna start coloring next month, at the end of this month. Okay, right, good, we're good. Okay, for Bishop Museum, that's not what's next. Preschool enrollment is next. This comes out in March, so let's see, what are we adding in today? 29, and we currently have 120, 45, so 145 plus 29, 174. Whoa, sorry friends for that loud noise. 150, 70. Put these back and grab 4 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice, 174. Okay. And then up next, preschool fundraiser. This one's going to be coming out like so soon, in less than a month. We are saving up for a total of 250. Let's see what we have. 1, 2, 20, 31, 131 plus 21. Wait, 231 plus 21, 252. Yay, we'll have the amount that we need. Actually, okay, $2 off on this one as well, over. So let me know, what do you think we should do? So 252. What should we do with this extra $2? So now we have an extra $4. I mean, I guess we could just keep saving it for next year, but then that's going to put all of the calculations off. I don't know. Let me know what you recommend. What would you do? Okay, now we are back up to Bishop Museum. I don't know why these are out of order. We are saving up to pay this in December, so we will color in for August here. $13 going in, plus, let's see what we already have in here. 50, 70, 90, 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 104, yes. Plus 104 is 117. Yay, we can grab our 100, 10, 15, 16, 17, put these 2 back. Nice, that's awesome. Okay, now we have Netflix and Hulu coming up next. I was asked, why are we saving up so much here? If I can remember, I'll leave a referral link for Raise or gift card exchange as well. I like to buy gift cards for these. At least yesterday, I think I bought one, or last time I bought one, not yesterday, last time I bought one for Hulu, it was a little over 11% off. So if you can save 11% on either of these subscriptions and you're going to have them, why not? Might as well, right? So we're saving up so that I can buy about a year's worth at a time, or to get us like a year out when I see that these have a good sale of at least like 11%. So let's see, for Netflix, that one's up first. We're putting in 24 a month. We already have 150, 70, 90, 200, 10, 11, 12, 212. 212 plus, sorry, what did I say? 24? Yeah, plus 24. So wait, 212 plus 24 is 236. So 1, 2, 20, 30, 5, 36. 1, 2, 20, 35, 36. Nice, love that. Okay, similar thing for Hulu. Let's see, what do we already have in there and what are we adding in? We are adding in 20, and we already have 120, 35. 120, 35. Okay, plus 135. So we should have 155, 20, 40, 55. Yep, we'll just add in a 20. Perfect. These aren't as condensed as they could be, but that's okay. At least it's just the last two. Let me pause you while I cut my little holes here. All right, holes cut. Let's put this back in. And I cannot remember if I didn't already say it. I will insert the screenshot here of the total we have in our annual subs high yield savings account bucket. Yay. All right, we have money left. Why do we have money left? I think we filled in everything, right? I think it's just from making change. Maybe I didn't do that correctly. I don't know. Maybe I added in amounts wrong. I don't know. Right, what else could it be? We did all of this. We did this and this and this. We don't put any in here. Okay, I have no idea. That I guess happens sometimes when you're working with prop money. I am figuring it out. If you caught it, awesome. Maybe I will catch it in editing and put it in here too. I don't know. I should have counted the money at the beginning to make sure it was the sum of all of this that we were adding in, just to be sure. But then we still would have had the back to the bank amounts come out. I don't know. That is something I'll work on. Sorry, this is a hot mess. It's gonna get better, I think, right? It's gonna get better. There's only up from here. I feel like this was already better than last time. And in about a week's time, I will be back with you and we'll be doing this check-in. I'm thinking for next month, September, it might be easier to do weekly check-ins instead of like biting off such big chunks at a time. I don't know. I just wasn't sure if I would actually like have time to do that. So we will see. But either way, mahalo nui for being here with me. I am so grateful for you for sticking in there, and so sorry. I think this was a long one again, even though I tried to make it not, but here we are. I will see you in my next video. Maybe, I think if this is coming out on Monday, that will be Tuesday's Travel Tuesday. Aloha.